Hey, this is Rich over at TVP Live with another quick tips tutorials brought to you by Photoshop Elements Custom Tutorials Group. And let's jump right in with today's poster. Want us to know how to get rid of all the people in the background here. The problem with this photo, as you can see, is that if you try to brush out the people using the clone stamp tool, you're not going to be able to get the building right, because if you don't know what the building looks like, you're just completely making it up from scratch, and that's not going to look realistic. Honestly, the only real way to do that is to either take a separate photo of the building and cut out the people here in the foreground and replace the background. So in our case, what we're going to do is grab another version of the building, which I found on the internet, and that's this one right here. And we're going to use that as our new background. It's the same building, so it might as well be the same photo. So let's go ahead and cut out this foreground image of the people in the front, and we'll put them into the other image. So basically, you can use a masking tool, or you can use the polygon tool, or you can do it my old-fashioned way by using an eraser first and then the polygon tool. That's what I'm going to do here. I'll take an eraser. I'm going to zoom in here and start at the bottom. I'm going to unlock the photo. Let's grab a brush down here that's a really small brush, something like 5 pixels, and start from down here. And you'll see I'm just tracing this with the mouse. And you can trace by hand like this, or you can go click, hold the shift down, and click further for a series of straight lines. If I zoom in, you can see exactly what's happening. And then I'll just bring it out here and then continue to erase the edge of the photo. Now, if you'll notice, I'm erasing a little bit into the image of the person. Otherwise, you're going to see a white line. You don't want to see that. And now's a good time to edit out stuff that you don't want, like the water bottle here. We can just cut that right out. There's no reason to include that in the photo. And then also, I will cut out the bottom edge of this pack here, and we can leave this portion here and then just cut everything else out. And once you get to the end of tracing out the edge of your subjects in the foreground, all you got to do is grab the polygon tool and make sure it's not on lasso. Come down here and make sure it's a polygon. And you're going to draw a big polygon around the whole thing you just cut out. We'll start over here in the corner of the photo to make sure that that is being cut out. And we just simply use a polygon tool, and with the left mouse button, click away around in between the background and the foreground, making sure not to touch either side. Once you get to the bottom here, I'm going to wrap around the whole rest of the photo over on every corner to make sure that I'm grabbing the whole thing. And I'm going to double click down here. When I zoom out, you'll see the marching ants, and that tells me that this whole piece has been selected. As soon as I hit delete, boom, and I can hit Control D to deselect, and we have our subjects completely cut out, and they can be saved as a PNG and used in any photo. In our case, we want to use it in front of this photo. So let's go ahead and come back to this tab. And the way we get our photo into the other tab is we left click and drag the photo physically all the way up to this tab. The other picture will pop up. I'm still holding the left mouse button. Bring it back down and just let go. And that brings the photo from that tab to this tab. And now we got our foreground in front of our background, just like we want. I'm going to go ahead and place it down here where it looks realistic. Maybe turn them a little bit like this. As a matter of fact, I can even take the original background, I'll unlock it, and change its skewing to fit them a little bit better by going up to Image, Transform, and Distort. This allows me to grab any of the 4 corners to manipulate it any which way we want. But in our case, we want to bring this edge down so that it's all the way straight across. I'm going to grab this corner and bring it down like this. It looks more realistic, like they're right in front of that portion of the castle. And I'll hit OK. That's the green arrow. And that's looking pretty good. And finally, I want to notice that everything is darker down here. Everybody's darker on the bottom. They're kind of bright on this bottom edge here. So I'm going to make a duplicate of them, the foreground. I'll duplicate and then take that duplicate, go to Enhance Lighting, Bright Contrast, and watch what happens. I'm going to make it darker. So the whole thing will get darker. I'm not going to use the whole thing, but I want to make sure that the bottom half of their legs are darker. And we'll try that right around there and hit OK. Now that particular layer that we made darker, I'm toggling it on and off, I'm going to bring it underneath the previous layer. So when we look at the top layer and I toggle that on and off, see it's darker behind. Now we can take that top layer, grab an eraser. Let's make it a big eraser like 400 points. See how big that is? Now make sure you got the right layer that you want to erase. And I just left click, just tap once here. Watch the legs. Boom, they got darker. Watch the legs. Boom, they got darker. And this looks more realistic because everyone's bottom half here is darker than they were here. There was more sun where they were at. Now there's less sun there. It looks better. And now you're able to go ahead and crop the photo to whatever you want. The original photo was something like this, right? So now that we got all this extra room, let's go ahead and add a little bit more and have the photo right around there. That looks really nice. I'll hit OK and check it out. There's our finished photo. It looks like they're standing right in front of where they really were standing. So this is it for this tutorial. This is Rich, calling it quits, saying over and out.